Even though God showed me her, I was still walking according to my preference. I liked light-skinned, long hair, petite models, all that crazy nonsense. I like what I want.
When a man says that the woman that he's with or his wife is not his preference, all that means is that you're a consolation prize because I couldn't get the prize that I really wanted. So I ended up with you.
Hey beautiful people, how you are doing today? It's your girl Destiny here and welcome to my channel. How have you all been? Hope you guys are doing great. So the Future Wife podcast has started again. Remember the podcast that the woman came and talked about how she used to iron her husband's clothes so that the husband would go and meet his side chick. Another couple has sat down there again and they are giving basketballs again and everybody's talking about it. So this time another Christian married couple sat down and the husband wanted to talk about how God directed him to his wife. How when he saw his wife was not his preference. That normally what he goes for light skin, skinny, straight hair women, but his wife is the total opposite of that. I don't know what these people are talking about in this podcast. But yeah, and the woman was sitting down there, kiki kakaing and smiling like, Anyway, this clip of this the Future Wife podcast has gotten everybody talking and like, what's going on in this podcast? Is it that this men of God, these Christian marriages, that are just hopping on the internet just to embarrass their wife and humiliate their wife at this point? Because why are you sharing this information with us that what you like or your preference is the opposite of what your wife is? Anyway, this has struck an entire conversation that has gotten people talking. So we're going to check the clips out, people's response to it, and then I'll come back and share my thought because I get what they're trying to do in this podcast. I get what they're trying to push, but I feel like they're doing it. The tone is different. The tone, no, is different. Anyway, guys, let's go check it out, and then we'll come back and talk more.
With you, I was tired. I was in a season where God said, just be ready for your wife. So I went to this concert. I was invited. And long story short, as I sat there, he gave all of his background singers an opportunity to get a piece of the song. So two of them stuck out to me. One guy's name was Chris, and then the other was Kanita. And so afterwards, I'm thinking in my mind initially, if they ever come back to Detroit, I might need them in the studio, might work on some records. So I introduced myself to the both of them, and after that, I left. And so when I introduced myself to Kanita, I didn't want to be the typical dude off the street, let me get your number in church, what I'm saying? So I just made it simple. I said, you know what, if you're on Facebook, I'll connect with you there. If you, on social media, I'll leave it there. If it's more, cool. If it's not, cool.
So hold on, but so you was open to more.
I was open to more, but it wasn't my initial
original intent.
Yeah. See, I was in that time, even though God showed me her, I was still walking according to my preference. I liked light-skinned, long hair, petite models, all that crazy nonsense. I like what I want. And so the Lord had to show me that that's where I was at. I was just
Christian women need to stand up. If I see one more podcast with a Christian woman sitting there and allowing a man to embarrass you, Proverbs 31 women had self-respect and boundaries. Where is it? Where is it? I don't care if I'm sharing my story, my testimony. You're not about to sit here and embarrass me now. Never catch me on a podcast being like, oh yeah, I washed his clothes before he cheated on me with somebody else. I got him prepped and ready to go. No, you'll never see me sit down next to a man and let him list out reasons why he was not being, one, obedient to God, and then two, not finding me attractive. You're kidding me. You're kidding me.
Why are all of these men coming on the Dear Future Wifey podcast to tell the world essentially that their wife is not their preference?
I was open to more, but it wasn't my initial
original intent.
Yeah. See, I was in that time, even though God showed me her, I was still walking according to my preference. I liked light-skinned, long hair, petite models, all that crazy nonsense. I like what I want.
When a man says that the woman that he's with or his wife is not his preference, all that means is that you're a consolation prize because I couldn't get the prize that I really wanted. So I ended up with you. And it really just be going over their heads because every time they just be sitting there nodding like, no ma'am, this is a jab. This is not a compliment. And for the men, I really feel like they think they're giving their wife a compliment by saying like, hey, I couldn't get her, so you got me. That's not a compliment.
Let a man dare say that he stopped looking and searching for women that were his preference and chose his wife who was out of his preference. Y'all not gonna like me for what I have to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway, okay? Ryan Rootley sat there on the Dear Wifey podcast, and he explained that he was tired of constantly looking for women that was in his preference. And it may be so true that these women just wasn't a good fit for him. They denied him or whatever. And he chose his wife. But let me tell you about perspective. Every woman underneath that video was talking about how he embarrassed his wife and he this and he that. But what y'all don't understand is a lot of us operate out of preference, and that's the problem. And the only way you develop a preference is when you living outside of the will of God and you're doing things on your own will and on your own terms. Okay? For example, having grown folks activities before you are married. That is one way to develop those preferences versus having what God has for you. I did not view that as him being disrespectful. He was being honest. You was out there searching for your preference. Your preference got your feelings hurt, and obviously you aren't with those women, and you ended up with your wife, who you probably should have been with in the first place. Women do it all the time. Y'all end up with men based off of their money, not because they're your preference, but because of their money and what they can do for you. I'm not saying all women, but I'm saying a lot of women do this and nobody says anything. So I wish I would stop doing this. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
I liked light-skinned, long hair, petite models, you know.
This podcast got to be a psyop on the eradication of black love, because what is this? Every time I see this tangy ass mustard couch on my FYP and there's a black couple sitting on it, it's always a black church couple on there completely embarrassing themselves. Christians be so quick to call a movie demonic, a song, a picture, an outfit, a person demonic. Bitch, the demons. They're going to take over the world. Are in the church. And you know what's so crazy? I know plenty of women that settled for a man. And when I say settle, they settle differently than men, right? Men settle for looks. Women settle for, like, structure. Like, they'll settle for a man that may not have their shit together, but they can see the potential in them, right? Where a man would settle with the most raggediest, most broke down, dirty foot, whatever, long as she look a certain way. But I've never seen a woman settle down with a man, marry him, love him, and then get on the internet or on a television and still be married to the man and say, yeah, I really settled for him. Mm-hmm. This man got on here and said, yeah, I wanted me a light-skinned, long hair, big booty model type, but instead I got me a fat, black, bald-headed bitch. Like, what?
Here we are again with another episode of Dear Future Wifey Podcast, where the man is yet again humiliating his wife by saying she was not his preference. He wasn't attracted to her. You can't tell me that podcast ain't nothing but a humiliation ritual for black women. And they sit up on that stage, laugh. Yeah, because he chose me. Da 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 da. Basically, he chose you because he was not his preference. And he used God as an excuse because he knew you would fall for it. Notice they pander to a specific audience. Women that desire marriage, pick-me women, and church women. Mm-hmm. And you can't tell me that the Christianity wasn't nothing but a curse put up on the black community, especially black women, to make them subservient to less than what they deserve. Women, it is okay to want marriage. It is. Marriage can be a beautiful thing with the right person. Mm-hmm. There is a man out there where you are his preference, and where he would not feel like he's settling because he chose you. You just have to have enough self-esteem and discernment to know that. But while you praying for that man, ask God for discernment so he can let you determine if that man is about bullshit or he for real. Dear Future Wife Podcast people, y'all need to stop. Because y'all doing one or two things. Gaslighting women into settling, or showing them what their life is going to look like when they do.
Is the full name of the Dear Future Wifey podcast Dear Future Wifey when the women I actually want
are no longer attracted to me or want me, I hope that you are around and ready, willing, and able to settle for me the way I am settling for you. Like, is that what the name of that podcast is called? Because if Kelly Steele wasn't enough, now there's this beautiful dark-skinned woman sitting up on that podcast cackling. Hee hee ha ha, and like it's a joke next to her husband, while he sit there and talk about how he was really attracted to light-skinned, thin women. Okay, but God told him he was ready for a wife, and here he go put this dark-skinned, thick woman in front of him that he wasn't really checking for, that he met at a concert, that he was just trying to be friends with. But the well of light-skinned, thin women like dried up for him, and she was nice, and she's just sitting up there laughing. Like, what part of that shit is funny? Like, what part of this man getting on a podcast telling the whole world that he was not attracted to you, that you were just outright not his type, that he settled for you, is funny? Girl, stand up. And hide behind God to do it is absolutely insane. It's crazy. Like, I swear this podcast ain't for nobody but trifling ass men and women who aspire to nothing more than the title of wife. Nothing more than the title of wife. Like, that's your whole raison d'etre, is to be somebody's wife. Yeah. Don't care all the struggle and strife and embarrassment that come along with it. You get to say that you somebody's wife, and that shit is sad and crazy. Because I wish we would get on a podcast and embarrass the hell out of me like that. Some things you just keep to yourself. Some things you just keep to yourself. Bring back secrets and shame. Bring back secrets and shame.
Light-skinned, as he would say, women. That's what he liked. He liked light-skinned women. This is all everybody's talking about. There's one major thing that people aren't talking about when it comes to this Dear Future Wifey podcast. And the point that I want to make is that all of the good is being lost in these ridiculous comments that these husbands are making. And this just goes back to what I was saying about you have to choose your words wisely, because some things are unnecessary for people to hear. Some things are unnecessary for you to say. There's no reason in the world why these men keep getting on there talking about how their wife wasn't it for them until God. That is all fine and dandy, but that just shouldn't be a part of your message, because it's making everything good be evil spoken of. Everything good that you could have gotten from this podcast, you can't even get it, because everybody and their mother is talking about how this man dogged his wife out, how she wasn't good enough for him. He liked long-haired, skinny, light-skinned women. And I'm over here just like, you know what? Let me watch the rest of this podcast and see what else God may have for us to learn from this, because at this point, everybody wants to take this podcast mic and throw it out the window. They don't want to hear it no more. But I just want to tell them that it's the delivery. It's not the fact that they don't have a positive message for people who want to be married and for couples who want to live for God. It's wonderful. That's a wonderful message if you want to live for the Lord. Because in this day and age, a lot of people, that's not really what's on their mind. But the way they're starting out and the way they keep talking about their wives and how they just weren't good enough, it's not good. It's in poor taste. Let's just say that.
I was still walking according to my preference. I liked light-skinned, long hair, petite models, all that crazy nonsense. I like what I want. Yeah. And so the Lord had to show me that.
What the be so goddamn funny on this podcast? Is it only Christian? Like, is it like the Christian woman thing to not feel a way when your husband is sitting there like, yeah, I was not attracted to her at all. Yeah, she is not my type. I like them light skin. She was black as hell. I like long hair. She was bald headed. And I like the slim model types. She was fat. And she just, Where was the joke? Where was the joke? Some things it's okay to keep to yourself. And I feel in this like space of truth and honesty and being vulnerable and blah, 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 blah. It's like a humiliation ritual. This podcast, the Dear Future Wifey podcast, is a humiliation ritual for women. I have yet to see a clip of the wife sitting next to her husband, and saying, yeah, I did not like him. Oh my God, I used to cheat on him so much. Oh my God. The most I've seen is the wife being like, I was not paying attention to my husband's needs. And, I woke up one day and what's their name? It's that a couple, the husband is an actor now. It's not a pastor preacher situation, but the husband is an actor now. I can't remember their name. And she was just like, he asked me one day, what's on your agenda for today? And she was like, oh, well, I have the kids and then I have an appointment and I have this and I have that and that. And she listed out all those things that she has to take care of that day. And then he asks her, well, where do I fall in that? And she was like, it was then that I thought, oh my God, I've been neglecting my husband. Have you been neglecting your husband, or has your husband not been helping? Because if your husband was also thinking about the kids and what they have going on and all the things that the house needs, maybe you would have room for him. That is the highest level of a wife.
Raising a husband.
My God. This is so embarrassing.
Frankie. Anyway, please go down in the comment section, share your thoughts. Love to know what you think about the conversation down in the comment section. But as always, please keep it respectful. Here on this channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we do it in a very respectful way. So go ahead, feel free, share your thought. So this podcast, this Future Wife podcast, for me, I'm just like, they're really trying so hard to push women, especially women that are still on that era of pick me, I want to be choose. I know that for me, that's all the clips I'm seeing on this podcast. I haven't had my time to listen to the entire podcast, but that's all I'm getting, and that's the vibe I'm getting. And you guys know that's not what I stand for. And hearing a man coming to talk about how what his preference were is totally opposite of his wife now. For me, like some people are saying that it's not. For me, it is really. I don't know how he would feel if she said what her preference was the opposite of who he is. How he would feel. I personally, I am not of the mindset of physical appearance as preference. Yes, I know you have to be physically attracted to the person, but someone like myself usually is the mental and the emotional attraction for me. You have to have sense. You have to be emotionally available, intelligent to my sensitive to the way I feel and the way I before. Yeah, for me, I think from a very early age, physical attraction, I knew it wasn't a key. Somebody can be the most attractive person physically, but very very shady. So I know. Not saying my husband is very attractive. Not saying that, but for me, that's it. And I feel like if you're trying to push that narrative, telling people that, oh, don't look for your physical preference, look for depth. But trying to pass that type of message and passing it like trying to make your wife look like shit, like I settled for her, it doesn't make sense. And I feel like the women in this type of marriages need to really like maybe call it out and all that, because for me it doesn't like, yes, you can pass on that message that letting people know that stop looking through the superficial part of humans, which for me that is a valid message to pass, because a lot of times people look at just the physical appearance and all that, and don't look into depths, both mentally, both emotionally, both spiritually. They don't look into depth into it. And he claims himself to be a Christian, say because God, come on. For me, and another thing I don't like about this entire podcast coming to just talk down on their wife is the fact that they always put it on God. I don't understand where God come into all this madness that they are doing. What does God has to do with you liking light skin, straight head, skinny, and all that? What does that has to do with God? And that you not end up saying the only reason you settled for her was the fact that probably the light skinny, straight haired girls were not looking out for you either. Own up and say it with your full chest. The girls I like didn't like me. Not saying, oh, it was God that not told me to settle for my wife. Like, oh, I just manage her. Ladies, and this is where like I would tell ladies, please stand in your values. Like I told you, said, I look beyond physical attraction, but that's not mean to say that the person I want to be with is not going to be physically I'm not going to be physically attracted to the person, or the person is not going to be physically attracted to me. That might not be the first in my number one list, but it's also like my third list after mental and emotional. It's on the third. You have to be physically attracted to you. That's not to put it aside, but the way they're passing on this message is not right. Like I understand what they're trying to say, but work, the way they are doing it is like kind of shaming the women, trying to make the women feel bad. And ladies, if a man keeps telling you that they were not attracted to you, like no. And I understand your body change and everything. And that's why for me personally, physical attraction is like on my number third list, because your body change, you change, your mindset change. Things happen in life that changes your body, sickness, events, things happen that change your body. So if what you're going for, the first thing is the physical look, then that is going to change over time. I get it. But if this man is a man of God, if that's on his own priority at first, physical look, and then because God told him, well, all these people, you people are just, I don't understand what you people are doing. You people are grown, long time married people, but I don't understand the message you people are passing. It's not clicking, it's not work, it's not, you people are not selling anything. Because what you people are selling, you're making people not to buy. Because you people are just trying to talk down on your wife. And the wives, you people are not talking down on these husbands. Because you people are just settling. You people are not talking about how they were not your preference. It was God that, anyway, you people will be all right. Ladies, never you settle for anything that doesn't feel good to you or does not resonate with you, that does not sit well with you. Never you do that. Don't ever, or in the name of God tells you, or your pastor tells you, because sometimes that's what they do. They'll say, oh, my pastor, God told my pastor, and my pastor came to tell me, and then I prayed about it, and then I saw it too. Use your discernment. God has given it to you, ladies. What doesn't sit well with your spirit? Don't settle just because you want to be a wife so badly. Don't settle for it. It is not worth it. This is what comes out of it. They'll be telling the whole world, I ain't like her. So what if his preference comes in front of him now? He will cheat, right? Anyway, guys, please go on and share your thoughts. Share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go on and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push out my content for more people to see, and that will be support this channel and this girl here. So go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Doozy.